Before heading to the video, if you haven't subscribed the channel, do subscribe it and don't forget to click the bell icon for the latest update notification. If you like the video, do like, comment and share. Stay tuned with learnbay.co. Happy learning!
Of our probability theory, that will be the distributions. So there are distributions into probability like binomial, multinomial and Poisson. So now what happens when you will go into the machine learning classes? So what happens, there are sometimes some parameters into the syntaxes, for example distribution. So you have to write distribution is equal to binomial, or distribution is equal to Poisson, or distribution is equal to multinomial. So what happens actually, automatically your model will calculate these kind of distributions internally. But to understand that parameter, we need to discuss here what are basically these binomial, Poisson and multinomial distributions are. And then later I will be able to explain you, like, yes, why we are using binomial, why we are writing multinomial. Something we will discuss today also about that for ML parameters. So first distribution is binomial probability distribution. So basically binomial and Poisson both are discrete type of distributions used for discrete data, and there are fixed number of observations into binomial distribution. For example, 15 tosses of a coin, 20 patients, 1000 people surveyed. So I'll just simply give you an example. uh, Now why binomial theorem has been developed. So now what happens, for example, there is a question. So probability of getting heads, getting, suppose getting 3 heads in 10 coin tosses. Suppose this is your numerical. Now how you will identify, uh, what all method you will do to identify probability of getting 3 heads in 10 coin tosses. So you have 10 coins and you have to toss them simultaneously 10 times. Okay, so what happens in this, we basically create a sample space. So sample space when we create, so what happens, so you have 10 coins, so 10 will be very much, suppose 5 coins you have. So now what happens, one condition is uh, all are tails. When you have tossed the coins, all came as tails. Then tail, tail, head, then tail, tail, head, head, tail, and tail, tail, head, tail, head, tail, head, tail, 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 sorry, head, tail, 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 then all are heads, then head, head, head. So on, you have to create all the sample space, all the possible combinations, and then finally out of all the possible combinations, what you have to do, you have to just find out how many times 3 head occurs out of total. So suppose 3 by 10, so that will become the probability of your system, probability of your getting 3 heads in 5 coin tosses. Now similarly, if these 5 coin tosses, if I'll say instead of 5, suppose 55, and if I'll say 100 coin tosses, so now you have to create 55 into 100, these many permutation combinations like this, to identify the probability. So now basic probability also can be worked out here, but basic probability, if we will use the concept and we will create this kind of sample space, now problem is it will consumes a lot of time. Okay, so to avoid these kind of issues, they have Bernoulli was the scientist who come up with this particular principle called as Bernoulli's principle, and binomial probability distribution is the extension of Bernoulli's principle. So what happens, for these solving these kind of problems, we use the binomial probability distribution, which we will discuss how to do that, numericals and everything. So binomial probability distribution will solve this via one single formula, which you have to remember always, which we will be going to discuss. So another definitions for binomial distribution is it is a binary outcome based, so head or tail in each toss of coin. Okay, disease or no disease, generally called success and failure. Probability of success is P, probability of failure is 1 minus P. So now remember, so probability of success is designated by P. Okay, so probability of unsuccess, okay, so unsuccess or failure is basically denoted by Q. Q is nothing but 1 minus P. Okay, so always remember, probability of failure is called as Q, probability of success is called as P. So now constant probability for each observation. So this you will get it into the example. So take the example of 5 coin tosses. What is the probability that you will flip exactly 3 heads in 5 coin tosses? So similar kind of thing you have to create. Basically probability for each coin is 1 by 2. So this kind of table you have to create, and then you have to find out what is the probability. Now directly avoiding this particular thing, how you can calculate the probability is via this formula. So binomial formula is ncx into p raised to the power x 1 minus p raised to the power n minus x. Okay, so this is the formula for your binomial theorem, binomial distribution. Now what happens, n is total number of trials, x is success out of n trials. Now ncx value, how you will be calculating? So basically suppose n is 5 and 3 trials. So way to arrange 3 heads in 5 trials. So n is equal to 5, c is equal to 3. So nc3 will become 5 factorial divided by 3 factorial into 2 factorial. So the formula for your NCR is, you can note it down. So formula for this NCR will be n factorial divided by n minus r factorial into r factorial. So suppose if your value is 5c3, then it will become 5 factorial divided by 5 minus 3 factorial into 3 factorial, which will be finally giving you 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 divided by 2 into 1 into 3 into 2 into 1. So this is how we calculate the factorial. So this will be cancelled out, this will be cancelled out. So something like that you have to calculate the value of this NCR. Okay, so remember how to calculate this NCR value, and then finally you will get value as 10. So to understand in detail, and then probability. So what is the probability of getting a head, guys?
Yep.
What is the probability of getting head?
1 by 2.
1 by 2. What is the probability of not getting head?
1 by 2.
1 by 2.
So basically probability of getting head is 1 by 2 raised to the power x, and probability of not getting head 1 minus p, 1 minus 1 by 2 is again 1 by 2 raised to the power n minus x. So this is how you have to use the formula. Let's take an example and let's try to understand how to design this particular formula. If I toss a coin 20 times, what is the probability of getting exactly 10 heads? So n is 20. 20 trials I want to do, and I want to calculate the probability of getting exactly 10 heads. So 20, 10, 0.5 is nothing but 1 by 2 is nothing but 0.5. So 0.5 raised to the power 10, 0.5 raised to the power 10. So why 10? 0.5 raised to the power x. So x is 10. Now 0.5 raised to the power n minus x. So 20 minus 10 is finally give you 10 again. So is equal to 0.176. So 17% is the probability that when you will toss a coin 20 times, it will give you exactly 10 heads. So that is how binomial distribution just simply in a single shot will do a calculation of probability for you without creating any kind of sample spaces and any kind of counting. Okay, so probably
Uttaka, just hello.
Yes.
Just one small question. This is based on the formula. Now,
right.
if I exactly toss a coin 20 times, would I be getting 17 times heads? Is that a case?
Not 17 times. 17% of the times.
Okay, 17% of the times.
Right.
Okay, so will that be the exact case if I toss my coin 20
No,
times?
it will not be the exact case. So that is why the name is probability. So probability, the Hindi meaning of probability is sambhavna. So only there is a chance. There is no fixed thing. Okay. So this is the chances that there will be 20 times. So we are not giving any exact value. So probability is all about chances. It's not about the fixed thing. Always.
Okay.
Okay. So you will be having some idea. Yes. Okay. This much is the chance. So you can take the decision, but again, we don't know, it cannot be also. Probably you may get only 5% of the times. So that is how. So we will show you into the code how to calculate this. So this you calculate, if I toss a coin 20 times, what is the probability of getting 2 or fewer heads? Do this, create an equation and ping me into the chat, or as and how you want to ping. So how you will be creating a what's the probability of getting of 2 or fewer heads? So either it should be 2 or 1 or 0, not more than 2. 0 can occur, 1 can occur, 2 can occur.
So all three are included in this?
Yes, so I want getting 2 or fewer heads. So some help I will do. New Discord. So you have to calculate the probability of x such that probability of x is equal to 0 plus probability of x is equal to 1 plus probability of x is equal to 2. It is also called as probability of x less than or equal to 2. So this you have to calculate. Okay. Formula is NCX, probability raised to the power n, sorry, it is x, probability, sorry, this is q raised to the power n minus x. Q is nothing but 1 minus p. Okay, so you can put 1 minus p also here. So calculate. Okay, don't do the calculation, just I want this sort of equation. You just give me the equation, because calculation will take lot of time, because you have to calculate many things. Just give me the equation. Okay, anyone is able to complete? Okay, I'll show you for this. So this is the equation. So are you able to understand this equation, how it has been created? Anybody is having doubt how it has been created? Okay, if nobody is having doubt, then I'm going to next slide. Okay, so we have calculated for x is equal to 0, then x is equal to 1, and then x is equal to 2. And you have to add them. You will get the final probability results. Now, okay, this another thing. If x follows a binomial distribution with parameters n and p, then e of x is equal to np, variance of x is NP into 1 minus P. Standard deviation is under root NP into 1 minus P. I'll correct this into the slide. They got mixed up. So basically variance. So suppose if any set of number is following a binomial distribution, then variance you can calculate via the formula N into P into 1 minus P. Standard deviation is nothing but the under root of variance that can be calculated directly. Now E of X is called as expected value, also called as average value of the distribution. So for binomial distribution, expected value or average value can be calculated via the formula NP. Okay, so we'll see one problem. Now you have to solve this. You are performing a cohort study if the probability of developing a disease in the exposed group is 0.05 for the study duration. Then if you randomly sample 500 exposed people, how many do you expect to develop the disease given a margin of error plus minus 1 standard deviation for your estimate? Second question, what is the probability that at most 10 people exposed develop the disease in the system? So can you solve these first and second problem and let me know the answer? And ping me the answer on WhatsApp. Okay, ping the snapshot on WhatsApp. Surendra has pinged already. I think I'll check till then what. Okay, this is P20C2, 20C1. Okay, reverse way you have written, but it is correct. It is not correct. It is wrong. Powers you have taken wrongly. Okay. Surendra 2001. Yes, that is correct. You have to just, Surendra, you have to put just addition signs between all three equations. So you have to add the probabilities, then you will be able to get the probability of X less than equal to 2. Okay. Remaining part is correct. So when I'm saying what is the probability that at most 10 exposed people develop the disease, then what will be the equation?
It is equal to 10 or less than 10.
So at most is how? Equal to or less than?
It is the maximum value. Up to 10 you can go.
Equals
Yes.
to it will be lesser than equals to or less than 10.
Yes, so probability is X of less than equal to 10. So you have to calculate the probability for 10 cases. So now X is equal to 0, X is equal to 1, 2, 3, up to 10. Don't do the calculation, but just I need the equation. So you write the equation into your copy and send it to me. First question will be having the uses of these formulas, EX, variance of X, and standard deviation. So try to do it, otherwise I'll show you. But at least I'm expecting second part you will be able to ping me onto the snap. So what is the value of N in this particular case for second question?
500.
Yes, and X values will be keep on changing with respect to 0, 1, 2, 3. What is the
Yeah.
probability given?
0.05.
And what
0.055.
is the probability of failure?
1 minus
0.95.
0.95 or 1 minus 0.05. Correct. So at least equation you create and send it to me.
Okay.
And for this first question, I will be very happy if somebody will be able to solve it because it is very easy. So can somebody tell me how first problem can be targeted? What you will do?
Approximate value N times P. E of
Okay.
X.
N times P. So basically it will give you how many do you expect to develop the disease. So basically how many average people out of 500 I am expecting. So NP. NP will give me the expected value that these many people I am expecting to develop the disease. Now given the margin of plus minus 1 standard deviation for your estimate. So plus minus 1 standard deviation. Now what you will do with this?
NP 1 minus P under root.
Under root. So you will get a standard deviation. Now what you have to do, you have to add that standard deviation into your average and you have to subtract it from the average. You will get the total people within the range of plus minus 1. So do these calculations and send it to me. I don't want the answers. I just want the equations. I don't want you to do any calculations. I just want to see the equations. So Surendra has sent correct equation. This is how you say put the equations, but you have to put the plus sign between all of these three. Okay. Okay, NP. Okay. Okay, Rishank, for this question, you do the calculation. NP 500 into 0.05, just quickly do the calculation. And for values, you give me the value, like what will be the average value and what will be the standard error, standard deviation.
Okay.
But this is correct. Okay. This is correct. Who sent this? Rahul. So Rahul has sent me. That is correct, Rahul. Okay. Rahul, everything is correct. Only one thing you have mistakenly done. In bracket, when you are defining this 500 and 0, for each equation, it will take change 500 0, then 501, then 502. I understand you have just mistakenly did that. I know you know this. Just I am telling you for correction purpose. But why I say that it is correct, because remaining places you have followed that particular thing. So just correct it out, this one, otherwise your equation is perfectly correct.
Sure.
Okay. So this is Disha has sent. Disha 01. Correct. Correct, Disha. Right. And first question. Okay. Correct. And then Surendra has done the calculation. Okay, some problem I am seeing here. Let us check the solution for first question. I also forgot what was the output. 0.21. Okay, let's see. Okay. Okay, so okay, Rahul and Disha, it is correct. For Surendra's thing, we will check it. So this is what is the answer. So E of X will be simple, 500 into 0.05. So this much is correct, Surendra. Variance of X you have to calculate 500 into 0.05 into 0.95. So you forgot this 500 into the formula. Otherwise your equation is correct. So formula is N into P into 1 minus P. And then standard under root of this will give you 23.75, 4.87. Then 25 plus minus 4.87 will give you a interval estimate. So now 21 to 29 people can get this particular disease. That is how we will project this. Everybody understood this particular question, how to solve this one, first part, or any doubts?
Can you explain it again, Harsh?
Yes. So basically, how many, see here in this numerical, he is asking how many people do you expect to develop the disease. So he is asking the expected value. So how many average people out of 500 you think will be getting this disease? Then you have to go with these formulas. So expected value formula is NP and standard deviation is under root NP into 1 minus P. So now simply we will calculate N into P will give you 25. So 25 people is expected to have this disease. Now another part of question is given a margin of error plus minus 1 standard deviation. What for your estimate? So you have to now estimate an interval estimation, given that you can use the standard deviation up to plus minus 1 sigma. So plus minus 1 sigma, you have to calculate standard deviation, which will be coming as 4.87, and then you subtract plus minus 4.87 from 25. Suppose if I'll say plus minus 2 sigma, then what you will do? Instead of plus minus 1 sigma, if I'll say plus minus 1 plus minus 2 standard deviation, then what you will be going to do? Anyone?
Plus minus 2 into the standard deviation.
Correct. So what I will do, I will do plus minus 2 into 4.87. So something 4 to the 8, 8 or 9 will be some value, then 25 plus minus 9 you have to do from the data. So that is the explanation of your first question. Second question anyways, and everyone has correctly done it, whoever has sent the output. So yes, that is how you have to develop equation. Then calculation is very longer, so I don't want you to go into the calculation part. So this is also correct. So any doubt for second questions? Second question, second part. Okay, yes, now it is correct. So this is how you calculate the distribution, binomial distribution. Now one more problem for you. You are conducting a case control study of smoking and lung cancer. If the probability of being a smoker among lung cancer cases is 0.6, what is the probability that in a group of 8 cases you have less than 2 smokers, more than 5 smokers? What are the expected value and variance of the number of smokers? I want everyone has to do this particular problem, because we have already seen one problem how to solve it, and this one is very easy problem. Please solve it and ping the snapshots on the WhatsApp group. Or if any doubt, then ask the questions. Okay, I don't want the answer for this. You just send me the equations. For third part, you calculate the answer and send me. Variance and expected value, I want the answers. But part A and part B, it will fine with me if you will only send the equations. Okay. Rahul has sent something. First is less than 2 smokers. Okay, 0. Less than 2 smokers. It's not less than or equal to. Less than 2 smokers. 0 and 1. Okay. And okay, second part is more than 5 smokers. So more than 5 smokers, how here you have calculated 6, 7, 6, 7. Okay, this is second part is something wrong. We will see that. So Rushank, probability of smokers less than 2 smokers, 0, 1, greater than equal to 5, 8 and 7 and 8, 8, 6, 7. what is this? 6, 7. Okay, 0. And into P and P 1.92. Fine. Okay. This is correct. This looks to me correct. Yes. Correct. Okay. Looks correct. We need to, I also need to see the solution, but I'm just seeing the approach. First, second. Okay, this looks to me correct. Okay. Correct. Okay. This is also correct. Okay. So, okay, let me check more. Okay, here we don't want to calculate the interval estimate. So let's see what is the output. Okay, so first is okay guys, you are missing one thing. So less than 2 smokers. So when you are designing a equation, you have to write a full-fledged equation like this. Okay, so write always like this. So first part is less than 2 smokers. Okay, so how equation will be created? P of x less than 2 is equal to P of x is equal to 0 plus probability of x equal to 1, and then you have to calculate your 8C0 and 0.6 raised to the power 8, then 0.4 raised to the power 8 minus 0 and minus x plus 8C 8C1. So this is how you create the equations instead of directly writing it. So here what he has done, this, so Px less than 2. So I have, instead of creating equations, I have just directly given the probabilities. So I have not given the equations you have developed. So these two, this will be the result for x less than 2. Greater than 5, you have 6, 7, 8, 3 values, and expected values, variance and standard deviation will be calculated like this. So all the solutions which you have sent are correct. Now multiple choice questions. In your case control study of smoking and lung cancer, 60% of cases are smoker versus only 10% of control. So all these things, these are the questions for your homework. You do it as your homework. Solutions are given. Few simple one we will discuss here. What is the probability of getting exactly 5 heads in 10 coin tosses? Which is the correct option?
B.
10C5.5 B. Okay, so B is the correct answer. A coin toss can be thought of as an example of a binomial distribution with n is equal to 1, p is equal to 0.5. What are the expected value and variance of a coin toss?
So variance will
Option
be 1
A.
times 0.5.
A.
Yeah.
Option A.
Option A.
Option A.
Okay, because you don't have to calculate variance, 1 into 0.5 directly it will be 0.5, and only one option. Okay, 2 options are there, then you have to calculate variance also. Okay, so if I toss a coin 10 times, what is the expected value and variance of the number of heads? This is somewhat tricky. No, it's not tricky, it's easy.
It's
A.
It's D, 5 and 2.5. And in a randomized trial with n is equal to 150, the goal is to randomize half of treatment and half to control. The number of people randomized to treatment is a random variable x. What is the probability distribution of x? So x is a normal probability distribution, exponential, uniform, binomial, or binomial n75. Which type of distribution it is?
I think option E.
Option E. Okay. Anyone else?
D.
B.
D.
D. So why you are thinking D?
Because N is 150.
Yes.
Because
So
yeah.
yes. So you just match the options with the numerical. Only D option is giving you N is equal to 150 value, which is matching with the numerical with the question. So D is the correct answer. Okay. This is a calculation based question. You do it calculations at home, and these are the formulas. So okay, now another type of distribution is multinomial distribution. Multinomial distribution is an extension of binomial distribution. So binomial distribution, when the outputs are only two types, head or tail, true or false, disease or no disease, then in those kind of cases we use binomial distribution. When the outcomes are more than two, then we use multinomial distribution. It is similar to your binomial distribution. The formula is, the multinomial is a generalization of the binomial. It is used when there are more than two possible outcomes. Instead of partitioning n trials into two outcomes, yes with probability p given no with probability 1 minus p, you are partitioning n trials into three or more outcomes with probabilities p1, p2, p3. So general formula for three outcomes is probability of d is equal to x, r is equal to y, and g is equal to z will be n factorial divided by x factorial into y factorial into z factorial, p raised to the power x for d, p raised to the power y for r into 1 minus pd minus pr whole to the power z. So this is how we formulate the formula for multinomial distribution. Now see guys, you don't have to worry about binomial and multinomial distribution calculations, but I will tell you what happens into your machine learning area. So machine learning area, you know this target variable. There is one variable, target variable. So if target variable is having two unique values like 0, 1, 0, 1, yes or no, then you have to select distribution is equal to binomial. If the unique values are more than two, then you have to select distribution as the multinomial. For example, I'll just show you one column. So for example, you have suppose one column, suppose this is your target variable column, where you have these values: male, female, male, female, male, female. Okay. So now in this particular case, in your machine learning algo, you have to say distribution as binomial. Okay. Now somewhere there is a variable, target variable, win, lose, loss, and draw. Okay. Then win, draw. Okay, so in this case you have to say it is a multinomial. So just that is the only funda, but we are also calculating what is binomial, what is multinomial theorem. So you understand. So in some point of time in an interview, somebody will ask you, okay, what is binomial, why you are writing binomial or why you are writing multinomial in these places, and how to calculate binomial, multinomial. You should know that. So example is, if you are randomly choosing 8 people from an audience that contains 50% Democrats, 30% Republican, and 20% Green Party, what is the probability of choosing exactly 4 Democrats, 3 Republicans, and 1 Green Party member? So probability of choosing 4 Democrats, 3 Republicans, and 1 Green Party member, just use the formula, put the values, and you will get the probability. So this is how simply multinomial calculation can be done. Nobody will ask you multinomial calculations. Just I have included for your understanding that this is also available. Now another kind of distribution is Poisson distribution. So Poisson distribution is for counts if events happen at a constant rate over a time. So how you can distinguish between the binomial numerical and Poisson numerical is, basically Poisson contains some sort of rate. Okay, so what is this rate? We will see into the numerical. So from the numerical you will be able to understand. So expected value or mean is calculated here is mu is equal to lambda. Standard deviation variance is sigma square is equal to lambda. Sigma is equal to under root lambda. Lambda is nothing but the rate given into the numerical. So one numerical we will see, and when we will try to understand it. So similarly, how you have the formula for binomial, for Poisson the formula is probability of x is equal to k is equal to lambda raised to the power k into e minus raised to the power minus lambda divided by k factorial. So let's go to an example and try to understand it. So for example, if new cases of West Nile virus in New England are occurring at a rate of about 2 per month, then these are the probabilities that 0 to 1 to 1000 to 1 million cases will occur in New England in the next month. So now what happens here, you have to see into the numerical if any rate is given to you. So here 2 per month, so basically this is a rate. Okay, so anytime you are getting some numerical where this sort of data is given, where it is saying 2 per month are occurring, 10 per month are occurring, 10 in 6 months are occurring, then it is a Poisson problem, and this 2 is called as lambda. So lambda is equal to 2 here, 2 per month. So this is how you have to segregate binomial and remaining problem. So now what you have to do, you have to calculate the probabilities for 0 to 1000 to 1 million. So we will not be calculating all the probabilities, just few. So 0. So simple, you have to use this formula. Probability of x is equal to 0 will be lambda raised to the power 0 e raised to the power minus lambda divided by k factorial. So 2 raised to the power 0 into e raised to the power minus 2 divided by 0 factorial. So that is how you have to calculate the probabilities. So this is a simple example which I have given to you to understand how to do the Poisson calculations. Now we will see a proper examples and we do some sort of calculation. So suppose that a rare disease has an incidence of 1 in 1000 persons a year. Assuming that member of the population are affected independently, find the probability of k cases in a population of 10,000 for k is equal to 0, 1 and 2. So here what he is saying, one incidence in 1000 person year. So again rate is given to you. So how you can calculate lambda? Lambda is equal to 1 divided by 1000. Okay, and these many cases you have to calculate into 10,000 people. So 1 divided by 1000 into 10,000 will give you the expected lambda value into the 10,000 people. So 0.001 into 10,000, so lambda will be 10. Okay, now x is equal to 0, x is equal to 1, x is equal to 2. Simply you put the values into the equation and you can do the calculation for the Poisson. Okay, now okay, so expected value can be calculated as lambda t, variance of x can be calculated as lambda t. So just one thing, wait, so what you do, I think this formula I need to check. I have done some mistake here. So for example, if new cases of West Nile virus in New England are occurring at a rate of about 2 per month, then what is the probability that exactly 4 cases will occur in the next 3 months? So you again lambda is given here 2 per month. So lambda is equal to 2 per month. So x is equal to 4 in 3 months. So what will happen? So 4 cases in 3 months. So you have to multiply 2 with 3. So 2 per month are happening, then how many cases will occur into 3 months? 3 into 2 raised to the power 4, and e raised to the power minus lambda divided by 4 factorial, you will get the answer. Exactly say 6 cases, x is equal to 6, then 2 into 3 raised to the power 6 e raised to the power minus lambda divided by 6 factorial, you will get the answers for that also. Now practice problem for you. If calls to your cell phone are a Poisson process with a constant rate lambda is equal to 2 calls per hour, what is the probability that you forget to turn your phone off in a 1.5 hour movie, your phone rings during that time? How many phone calls do you expect to get during the movie? So solve this and send me the result. If you need to see formulas, I will show you the formulas.
The first answer is 3, right? 3.
Sorry, how much?
3.
Okay, we will see that. Okay, second. So you have to calculate the expected values. So I will show you the answers. So first answer is again.
Oh no, sorry, the second one is 3. Okay.
Second one is 3, lambda t, 2 into 1.53. Now, first one is basically if calls to your cell phones are a Poisson process. So this is somewhat tricky. Poisson process with a constant rate lambda is equal to 2 calls per hour. What is the probability that if you forget to turn your phone off in a 1.5 hour movie, your phone rings during that time? So px is greater than equal to 1 is equal to 1 minus x is equal to 0. So now what is happening, 2 calls are coming per hour. Now I have to see, for 1 hour I know 2 calls will come. Now more than 1 hour, now it can be 1.5, 2, 3, it can be any. So I need to calculate what will be the probability if I will forget to turn off my phone, that phone will ring into a movie of 1.5 hour, or it can be for more also. So now what we do, we need to calculate the probability. This is a trickier question, so I'm explaining to you what is happening into this. So basically what I want to understand, that I want to calculate px is greater than equal to 1.5, okay, or my phone will ring. So what will happen, I have to calculate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, infinite. What are the probability that it will be ringing? So for solving this kind of problems, what we do, probability of x greater than equal to 0 is equal to simply 1 minus probability of x is equal to 0. So you only calculate the probability of x is equal to 0 and subtract it from 1, you will get the probability for the remaining values. So this is a trick to do that. So now what he has done here, he has greater than equal to 1. So what he has done, 1 minus p x is equal to 0. So you just calculate x is equal to 0, subtract it from 1. So there is a 95% chance that your phone will ring during a movie of greater than 1 hour or 1.5 hour. Okay, so somewhat trickier question, but this is how we solve the Poisson. So both Poisson and binomial are discrete kind of distributions. Both are important distribution and both can be segregated via this rate. So in any of the numerical, if rate is given to you, that is a Poisson, otherwise it is a binomial or multinomial. And within binomial, multinomial, if 2 outcomes, binomial, if more than 2 outcomes, it is a multinomial problem. So this is all about the probability and probability distributions. Now we will go on to the hands-on part and we will see how to implement on all these things into the codes. So open up your Jupyter notebooks and let's start doing the probability calculation. Okay, so first numerical is basically which we are solving. I want to see the probability of rolling an even number or greater than 7. So what I want to calculate a probability when I'm throwing a dice, either it should be an even number or a greater than 7. Okay, whenever I'm rolling 2 dices. Okay, so sum coming onto these 2 dices should be even number or should be greater than 7. So what is the probability of that? We are implementing into a Python function, and write this Python function and then somebody explain me what is happening in this, because it is simple logic, nothing else. So today is the last class for statistics. I'm closing statistics classes today, and then tomorrow onwards I'll start machine learning. So first class of machine learning will be decision tree, classification and regression tree. So first class of machine learning is very important. Everybody try to attend first few classes of machine learning, otherwise you will not be able to understand anything into the later classes. So first 2-3 classes you have to mandatorily attend it, otherwise everything will go for a toss. Stats also and machine learning also, if you will miss 2-3 classes, next 2-3 classes. Now I am leaving up to you because tomorrow is Friday, you want to take a break and you want to revise whatever we have studied into the statistics and then start from Monday, or you want me to start from tomorrow. This is up to you. Let me know. If you want a break, I can give you a 1-day break tomorrow. Then you will be having 3 days. You can prepare, you can complete the assignments, you can start doing the capstone project, and from Monday we can start continuously machine learning. If you are okay, I can start from tomorrow also. Let me know.
Prakash, I would kindly say, like, please start from Monday onwards, because once the slide is being loaded, I have to go through every slide. I'm
Sure.
getting confused everywhere.
So
I have to
all of us are on same page, guys.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Monday will be fine.
Okay, so even I also want to start from Monday, because what will happen, this decision tree is very big. It probably it will take 2 to 3 classes, because lot of concepts I have to discuss. So now what happens tomorrow, if I'll discuss this, then next 2 days first class will be forgotten. So better we will start from Monday. So tomorrow you can take a break, try to complete all your assignments, try to start implementing something on the capstone. 3 days you have something, you start on capstone, some visualization, some sort of analysis you start. And probably you can ping me tomorrow, day after and day after, for any doubts with respect to capstone project, what all procedures you will be going to use and how you will be going to use. Anyone wants to explain this code, what is happening in this?
Yeah. So we are doing 100,000 simulations for
Correct.
rolling 2 dice together.
Okay.
And we are counting each one, and
Okay.
we are looping through the number of simulation each time we roll the die. We want to generate a random number from random
1
functions
to 6.
from 1
Yes.
to 6, and we
Yes.
want to combine the score of that
Yes.
number generated.
Okay.
So if that score is even, that means or greater than 7, we can increase the counter, and we can
Okay.
return the counter divided by number of simulation. That will give us
Right. So 66% is the probability that out of 100,000 simulation, 66,000 times what happens, this condition occur. Either it was an even number or its score was greater than 7, it happened. Now what is this function is doing in print function? I am calling the roll function dice. Into 100 I am doing to convert it into percentage. Comma 2 is up to 2 precision values, to 59. Up to 2 precision values I am printing, and I am just putting this percentage sign also. So everyone clear, or any doubt into this code snippet? I will explain it again. So can I scroll it down if everyone has written that?
Can you please repeat the last line again?
Okay, so last line, what we are doing here, we are calling the roll the die function. Okay, and roll the die function will call this particular function, and this function will return you the count divided by n simulation. And then we are doing multiplication with 100. So what will happen, it will convert it into the percentage. And comma 2 represent the precision values. So up to 2 precision values I want to print this number, dot 59, and I'm putting percent out of it. String is nothing, this string I am also printing here. So if everybody has typed it, can I scroll it down?
Yes.
Okay. Now, next numerical is.
I have a doubt.
Yes, tell me.
The question should be the probability of rolling an even or greater than 7.
Yes.
For rolling the dice twice, right?
Yes, we are putting 2 dice at the same time. Okay. So a box contains 12 transistors of type A and 18 transistors of type B. One transistor is taken out at random and returned. This process is repeated. Determine the probability that the first chosen is type A and second is type B. So do this experimentation, and what I want you to do, print this. Then you will understand this numerical, what is happening in this. Print this particular variable, choice list. Once you will print choice list, you will be able to explain me the code nicely, hopefully. Do this, and then somebody explain it to me how things are happening in this. If it is done, then somebody wants to explain it, what is happening in this code? Hmm.
So in the choice list line, we are like putting all the transistors, 12
Yes.
and 18 in one box.
Yes. So I'm just trying
Choice
to
list.
mimic that particular thing where like we have 18 transistors and 12 transistors of type A and B.
Yeah. After that, in the function transistor, we are randomly picking one out of 18 plus 12, that is 26.
From the choice list. Yes.
Choice list, yeah.
Yes. So what we are doing into the function, this is a function where it is picking up the transistor randomly from the choice list, and this function we are calling into try1 and try2. My condition is determine the probability that the first chosen is type A and second is type B. So first time when I have chosen, it should be type A and second one should be type B. So AND condition. Suppose first is type B, then this condition will fail. When both of these condition will be true, first is type A, second is type 2, then only I will increase the count. Success is equal to success plus 1. And then 24% of the times it happens for the 10,000 simulations. So this is the explanation for this code. If everybody has written that, can I scroll it down? Okay. Now, this was the random thing. Now, binomial probability calculations and distribution. So directly binomial functions are available into your NumPy library and into your stats library, SciPy library. So two I think I will show you. NumPy and stats I will show you. So syntax for NumPy library is numpy.random.binomial n, p, size. So basically here result of flipping a coin 10 times tested 1000 times. So n comma p is equal to 10 comma 0.5. So you are passing 10 coins and 0.5 is the probability, then directly pass it into the function, and how many trials you want? 1000. So it will print you the 1000 trials that 5 times head came, 6 times head came, or again 6 times head came into a next trial. So that is how binomial probability distribution will give you in one shot without writing any functionality. So do this experiment and let me know, then I'll scroll it down how to do Poisson calculation and all that. One more binomial example we will see for a numerical.
So if we want the outcome to be reproducible, we can do the random seed, right?
You have to do the random seed. If you will not run random seed, then output will be constant, because we call it as a random function, but actually it is not random. Okay, somewhere internally they have implemented the formula. So so that is why seeds comes into picture. That too is not random, because you are giving seed, then that seed will go into the formula and accordingly it will calculate the numbers. But that is how we are trying to achieve somewhat randomness, but it is not actually random into the codes. Nowhere into the codes random functions are actually random. Okay. So that is why when you will do this 10,000 simulation, your values should change. But what will happen if you will execute this code multiple times, still values will remain same. Right? Because it is not a random sampling, it is just using a single function internally for everyone. So
Chris, I have a question.
Yes.
On a real life scenario, what cases will we be using binomial probability?
Binomial probability is same, just the numerical which I have shown you.
No, on a real life scenarios.
Real life scenarios, you have the machine learning algorithms available. You have to just mention their binomial or Poisson. That's all. So actually, these probabilities we are studying for understanding the machine learning algorithm. So once you will go into ML algorithm, I'll show you what is the application of binomial and Poisson there. Okay, so just basic understanding we need right now.
So isn't machine learning and AI, artificial intelligence, is a different sector in data altogether?
Yes, they are altogether different. So data science, basically what happens, you have these multiple fields. Okay, this doubt is having with multiple people. So what happens, basically, you are having something called as data science. Okay, under data science, you have statistical modeling. Okay, then you have something called as machine learning modeling. Machine learning. Then you have something called as deep learning. Okay. Then you have something called as NLP, commonly known as natural language processing. Okay. Then you have something called as computer vision. Okay. Computer vision. Then another branch is you have something called as IoT, Internet of Things. Computer vision also contains image processing along with this processing. Okay, so another thing here is artificial intelligence. Okay, and one more part is robotics and RPA, robotic process automation. So this is how data science is defined. So I am basically NLP expert. Okay, so I'm not a statistical expert or ML expert. I'm a NLP expert. My profile is NLP expert into Morgan Stanley.
So each and everything has a different interview schedule, team, and everything, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I mean, on a layman's term, a person who knows statistical modeling, it's not mandatory for him to know NLP or machine learning.
Yes.
Am I right? On an interview perspective or on a general perspective.
Yes.
I'm talking.
Right. So for me, see, I know this. I know this. So these two are the basics. If these two you don't know, you cannot understand all this area. So these two I know this one, and then I did the expertise into this one because after doing machine learning, you have to choose one area: deep learning, NLP, computer vision, IoT, artificial intelligence, robotics. Which one you like? So I liked NLP, so I did expertise into NLP. I know all these things. I know a part of artificial intelligence. I know partly computer vision. IoT I have never tried, but now I'm doing some freelance projects on IoT. So this is how data science is. Yes, life is not easy here. Okay, so I think this answers your question.
Yeah.
So
I'm
yes.
so sorry. Like I have another thing. So to start with the data science as your career, we can. I mean, I'm just asking you in general. We can get into one particular field which is called as statistics. You got into statistics, and then you can develop your knowledge and then get into different fields, right?
Yes.
Or
So
is it mandatory that we need to know a couple of steps to start your career in data science?
See, starting your career, you need to know only stats and machine learning. That is more than enough. You can start your career. Okay. Now, more you will be knowing, more will be the packages. That's the only thing. So basically, it is kind of full stack. So definitely, if I have something called as front end developer and one is full stack developer will get more salary. So this is the full stack in data science. I can add more also. Here you have done another thing, big data. Okay, full stack, big data, cloud. Okay, then you have something called as Tableau visualizations. Okay, so all these things combined will become full stack. Okay, and this is how. So full stack will be getting more money definitely if you know more things.
Utkarsh, Surendra here.
Yes, Surendra.
Thank you.
Where do data analyst fit here?
Data analyst fits into, okay, there is a role defined under these things. One role is data analyst, one role is machine learning engineer, data scientist. So data analyst is basically who does cleaning and EDA and visualizations. That's the role of DA.
So according to you, if you want to, I mean, if anybody wants to pursue their career and become a data analyst, what are the topics that they have to be very strong?
To become a data analyst is a bad choice.
It's a bad choice.
Yes, because what happens, now I'm telling you this many things. So right now, if you become a data analyst, then you are only covering the 2% of the whole domain, right? And lot of things are there. So nobody will give you 20-30 lakh rupees for just being a data analyst. For just identifying the null values or correlated values or zero variance or just plotting some graphs, nobody will be paying you these lot of money. So don't target data analyst position. Target data analyst position for first few months, first few years probably, but later on you should always target be a machine learning engineer at least. So once you will be ML engineer, statistical modeler or EDA combined, you will be having the good career into your domain.
Utkarsh, I have a curiosity, Rushang here. So
Yes.
I was reading an article like machine learning and artificial intelligence in the industry. The people spend only 20% of the time developing a model, testing a model. So the rest of the time they spend cleaning the data, preparing for the fitting that data into the model and doing all this deep learning. So what is your real situation that you are working? So how much time do you spend on an average on a daily basis?
See, that is true that lot of time goes into data cleaning, because finally all models are based on data and clean data is required. So now what happens, I'll tell you, I'm real time scenario, I'm telling you what we do. So suppose what happens into my company. So we are working on to text data. Okay, so we got some text data where we wanted to do the data tagging. So data tagging is basically in simple terminologies, if I'll tell you, we are having a bank. So I was having this data available. So this is folder 1, this is folder 2, and this is folder 3. Now here I have some documents available: Aadhaar card, PAN card, your passport. Okay, here I have available PAN card, passport, your home loan documents. Okay, here I have your loan documents, bank statement or PAN card. Now what I want to do, so these are available into PDF forms. Now what I want, all this data has to be segregated into a CSV file. So what I want, there should be a CSV file. So here, whatever is written onto your Aadhaar card should be available here. Okay, whatever is written into your PAN card should be available here. Passport available here. And now what happens, once you will get this row, this is a content row. Now what I want, this is one task, okay, to convert the data and read it into the CSV. Second task, I want to tag this data. So tag means what I want to do, somebody has to read this and he has to say this is a Aadhaar card, this is a PAN card, this is again a Aadhaar card, this is a passport, this is again a PAN card, this is again a Aadhaar card. Now this is what we called as data cleaning and data processing for the model. Okay, now this is actually, by seeing itself, it looks to me a garbage work. You have to keep on copying the data from the folders, you have to manually check it, and then you have to write it. Okay, this file is Aadhaar card, this file is PAN card, this file is passport. Now what we do generally, we hire vendors from Capgemini or Persistent Systems. So now from Capgemini we hire just the freshers who has just recently joined, who doesn't have any experience into the domain. And then what we do, we assign these tasks to these people. Because what happens, these documents are available into thousands and 10,000s. So nobody will pay you 30 lakh rupees just for doing this work, to tag the data by reading, right? I have some people whom I am paying 1.5 lakh, 3 lakhs per year. They will be doing the work of data tagging, data cleaning for me. They will do all these kind of cleaning, null value check and all. So yes, this procedure consumes a lot of time, but this particular procedure will not never feed you a good salaries.
Okay. Okay. So what is the role of data engineer in your team? Like fetching data from different databases or
Yes,
from web
sir. So basically,
scraping. So
yes, data collection, okay, from different sources, and then data cleaning and data processing. How I'm explaining you this now, this data might be, suppose this data is available into SQL, okay, this data might be available into MongoDB, okay, and this data might be available into somewhere, suppose into some CSV file. So that is how, or might be into some folder. So they are just collecting these data, and these queries are simple, read and write only. This is nothing you have to create something here. It is just simple read and write queries from SQL, MongoDB, which you can get easily on Stack Overflow or anywhere. Even a machine learning engineer, if I want, it will take only 1 or 2 hours for me to do this effort. I can also collect. So really doesn't give any it's not very good work, but yes, it is also kind of job available into the market. But I suggest the people who are experienced, they should not target it data engineer or data analyst jobs. You can target this data engineer job if you have cloud also. If you know cloud and data engineering, then it is a good combination. It will fetch you a money. Otherwise, no. Single data engineering won't help you. Data engineering with machine learning will help you. Data engineering with Tableau skills, visualization skills will help you. Data engineering with cloud will help you. Alone data engineering will not help you. Same goes for your other things also. So for example, what happens when you work into Java? So probably you know some other tools as well along with that. So that's how things are here.
sorry, I have one other question, if you don't mind. So do you guys always deal with the CSV format, or there are some other efficient format like Parquet or some row or columnar format like JSON or something like that? So
okay,
can you...
this is I'll tell you. So suppose this is a CSV, right? This is a CSV format. There will be rows and there will be columns. Now in SQL, what happens? You have something called as tables. Finally, what is there? Columns and rows. Now what happens into MongoDB? You have something called as rows and you have something as columns. What happens into JSON? You have something called as key, and then you have something called as value. Key and value. Now what happens? Key is nothing but a column. Correct? Value is nothing but that value of in that column actually representing rows. So now you are seeing a common thing here across all these particular cases, rows and columns. Now whenever you are reading this data into your Python codes, where it goes, guys, whenever you read any data from CSV
Data frame.
columns or
Data
anything,
frame.
so data frame. So for you it will be finally data frame. Doesn't matter you are using Cloudera, Google Cloud or MongoDB or some other sort of database. Finally you just have to understand how to read the data from the MongoDB. That one query, if you know, finally for you it will be always data frame.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now outputs we generate always, especially in my company, outputs we always generate into JSON formats. Why we generate into JSON formats? Because we have the UI. So UI people want it to be into the key value format so they can display it easily. So that depends on to your next team, how next team wants the output and how previous team wants to give you the input. So that is the dependency. Some teams take JSON. In my previous team, they were telling me that you upload this data onto MongoDB, from there we will take. So depends on company to company.
Okay, so you will do like after processing on data frame, you do like two JSON, two underscore JSON,
Right,
and then
right. Two
okay.
underscore JSON, what it will do, just it will convert row and columns into key and values.
Okay. Thank you.
That things you will learn when you will go into that. It is simpler thing, nothing big there. So that's how.
Utkarsh, I have one question. I actually last few days I started looking for a JD, like machine learning engineer and those things. So they are expecting so many things. It's like you should be knowing data analytics, you should be knowing data engineering, you should be knowing Spark, Scala, those things. They like so many things.
See that what happens, and that problem is because of the HRs. What happens, they doesn't know about this, so they just post the full JD. You apply, when you will go for an interview, if a machine learning engineer will take your interview, he will not ask all these questions. So JDs are getting designed like this, but they really doesn't ask all of these things. You just have to tell them that Spark Scala is a big data engineer, I am a data scientist. Data scientist is different, big data engineer is different. Okay, so the people who are working into the domain, they understand. That is something because of HR, they doesn't know, they just put each and everything. Generally it happens, but along with that, you will see lot of places the JDs which are clearly defined that we want only machine learning roles. So those people, those are matured companies. If you will go for Accenture or anywhere, they will give you proper defined JDs.
Okay, understand. Thank you.
I would cut Samadhi player, right? Because
yes,
like
yes.
I mean, thanks for detailing out about the role choosing for different levels of experience. So I mean,
Yes.
what actually I want some suggestion about the what should be a role. I mean, should be chosen for a like a highly experienced people, say 10+ years, and I mean quite senior developer, and I mean little management experience like me. So basically, because actually we cannot work as a junior developer or like data
Right, right, and they will not hire you also as a junior developer.
Actually, and but you know, like that's a problem because I am coming from completely different domain. As I'm getting stuck in that domain, I need some exposure in machine learning. What should be the ideal role I should target?
See, there are positions like analytics lead, okay, and you have something project managers, then you have something called as product owner roles, okay, then you have something called as analytics delivery managers role. So these kind of roles you have to target, and lot of these positions are open, not filled up. Director role. So what I suggest, for first few months or first 1.5 year, what you can do, you can target some service companies like TCS, Wipro, Accenture, HCL. There you just take up a job of lead or PM where load is come, like lot of expectations are there you learn and do some things, and then you move as a bigger role as a director of analytics. I've seen many people from LearnBay itself move to director positions. They were just simple on individual contributor role, and they moved as a director of analytics. Lot of people I know. So you can target these kind of positions, but what happens now, in these kind of positions, they will never be expecting from you to know coding and all that. They don't want you to understand coding, and they don't want you to do any hands-on. But what happens, they want you to know that you understand what is machine learning, what is analytics. You understand if somebody will discuss about analytics projects, how it is running, and communication skills are required, presentation skills are required. So this is the area you have to work so understanding of concepts and improving your personal traits. So if you want to go into the bigger roles, then these things you have to target and you have to acquire.
What would be the, I mean, sorry to ask this, but what would be the average salary for these kind of roles?
Average salary is always depending on to your current salary, but you can expect 30 to 40% hike onto your current salary. Now companies are giving flat salaries, 30-40% hike, but yes, comparatively from the other domains, salaries are high into this particular thing. I can just simply tell you one thing. So I'm almost around 6 years of experience. Okay, 6.5 years of experience. So my salary and a person who is 12 or 13 year experience, just double of me. My salary is just 1 lakh less than him into Morgan Stanley. So it all depends on your current salary and skills you got. So this guy has just 2 years back, he has entered into data analytics domain, and this is his third company into 12-year experience. Mine, it is fourth company into 6-year experience. So it all depends on how you have switched and how you have what is your current experience and your current salary depends on all that. See, many people are saying don't change too early, your profile looks unstable and you will not be able to get jobs. I agree on to that, but on the same contrary, if you will be staying more than 2-3 years into one company, people will think you are an idiot, you don't know anything and you are incompetent. That is also a truth which I felt into the industry. That is my personal experience. Okay, so both the things are there. So I have changed a lot, but yes, if you are staying into a same company from last 6 to 7 years, then get out of it and change the, as soon as possible, change the companies, because this is the perception now in the industry. So do things accordingly. Just this is my personal belief. I'm not saying might be everybody is thinking in the same way, but this is how I think. I think like, okay, if somebody is staying more than 3-4 years into a same company, that means they are incompetent, they are into income in their comfort zone, until and unless you are getting a high salary. Okay, if somebody is getting 30 lakhs or 40 lakhs and 50 lakhs and he is staying from last 10 years, agree. But if somebody is getting 10 lakhs or 12 lakhs at an experience of 10 year or 12 year, then it is a incompetentness, and it's you should move out of that company, because now freshers are getting 8 lakhs 9 lakhs salaries, and if you are at an experience of 10-12 years, if you are getting 12-13 as a salary, it's not a good salary. Then get out of that company until unless it is a higher salary range. In my company, people are sitting here from last 20 years, but these people are earning 44 lakhs, 48 lakhs is the salary. Okay, so I know their salary because once I got the salary sheet into my hands, because we need to do the billing into the line of business, and I got for each and every person, my managers and everyone. So I saw that their salaries were 44 lakhs, 48 lakhs, 56 lakh. My tribe lead salary was 60 lakh. So and I used to think like, why these people are here from last 20 years. Then I understood, okay, this is the reason. This is the sensible decision, that you should not leave that kind of company where you are getting 60 lakhs. So these are the things with respect to salary. So it's always, salary always depends on you, how you have moved into your career. It's not like company will give you, if you are earning 4, company will give you double 8. They never gives, until and unless it is very niche requirement, or very much they want to hire somebody urgently, immediately. So I don't take me wrong, guys. That's not offending anyone. Just I'm telling you that there are, if you want to earn more, then you have to keep on changing the companies. One of my manager, he was into Wipro. When I was working into Wipro, he sits in US. Okay, so he's in US from last 20 years. He's an Indian. He's from Mangalore. So when I left the company Wipro, next day he called me. He told me this thing. He told me, just, I want to give you this one Guru mantra. Don't at least stay for 2 years in any company, and don't stay more than 3 years in any of the company if you want to have success, and if you want to be having good salaries. Because what happens, once you will come into comfort zone, you will stop learning, and when you will stop learning into IT industry, that is a dead end. And a lot of people are worried like, okay, I'm having 15+ year experience, how I will survive into the industry. Now the people who has not stopped studying, many of my managers I know who were into the Wipro, now these people are working onto very bigger post at the packages of 50 lakhs, 60 lakhs on director positions. Now once you reach these kind of position, directors, CXOs and CEOs, there is no turning back out of it, because director positions are supposed to be given to the people who are 15+ year experience. So those positions are safe, and this is the time. If you will not start working towards it now, then it will be late, because then it will be the saturation into the domain. So that's how things are. Okay, so that's how we need to proceed. I think,
Utkarsh, and also like, getting into the role of an analytical lead or a project manager, do you think that there will be growth in that and learning in that? Or do you going to think it's stagnant field?
See, no, it is not stagnant. See, there will be always learning onto any of the position. Okay, it is a namesake. These are the designation, but there will be always learning in some or another term. See, and every company gives you 2 paths. One is technical path, one is managerial path. It is up to you which one. You can become a solution architect, or you can become a project manager. It is up to you, right?
Okay.
So that's how things are.
I believe I have to talk to you something personally. So let's take it off the call, because I don't want to disturb the other people.
Yeah. So
the call. So that's the
I
main
think
intention.
So I think I'll take a separate session for you where I will take all your queries. for everyone. Probably at the end of machine learning classes, I'll give you something. See,
exactly. Career guidance is what exactly I'm looking for,
see,
apart from the learning part.
See,
So if you can
only
help
thing
me
is,
with that.
whatever I'm telling you, all these are my personal experience. See, I don't want to tell you something from YouTube, okay, or from Google. Yes, 21st century sexist job or something. You will get 30 lakhs package, 40 lakhs package. I just don't want to give you some false things. I'm just telling you the things which I have seen. Yes, I have seen people earning 60 lakhs. I have seen people who are not getting anything. So what I understood, it all solely depends on you. There are people who get the jobs during their course. There are people who get the jobs after 6 months. There are people who never get the jobs. Okay, so I think it solely depends. Okay.
One last question I have. You said that there are people like after 6 months also they do not get a job. Is that because they're not targeting on the right industry at the right time?
No, that is because they don't study. They are only worried about jobs, but they doesn't understand what is needed for job. So simple example I'll give you. One lady was there at LearnBay 1.5 year back. Okay, she has attended all the classes, everything she has done, and she was not able to get the job, and she was not applying into every company. Then she came to me and she asked me that I am not feeling confident and I am not applying. So I asked, why you are not applying into the companies? You have to apply for getting clear. She told, I am not feeling confident. I think that I will not be able to clear. I told, I need to understand why you are not feeling confident. Only you are the person who can tell me what is the reason, where you feel that you are not confident. So she told me, sir, truly speaking, what I want to say you that till now, whatever classes you have taken, whatever you have taught, I have not completed a single assignment. I have never opened your slides after going home. I have never watched your any of the videos. I have never gone through any of your code after the class. Your classes I have attended properly, but after your class, I have never done any of these things. So I don't feel confident. Now you tell me, who can help her? She can only help her herself. I cannot help her. And she didn't get job. Still she didn't get job. Okay, by the way. So that is something you have to follow. Okay, see, I can only show you the path. You have to walk on it. So that is something. So I can give you guidance. I can teach you. But again, exam you have to give. Interview you have to pass. So that is what problem I have seen. And I gave you one example yesterday or day before yesterday. There was a guy, Dharmendra. I love that guy actually. He told me he was a non-tech person, 6-year experience into quality assurance, totally non-tech, no coding, nothing. And he told me, sir, he got job into ABB, one of the biggest company. Even probably I might be getting rejected if I'll give the interview there. This guy told me, sir, whatever you taught me, I have recorded all your videos into my mobile phone, and whenever I was coming and going back from the office into a bus, instead of music, I was listening your videos. I know at what particular point of time which line you have said. And so people, there are people who did, and by the way, this person got job before his course got over into LearnBay. Okay, so all these things you can confirm, all these stories you can confirm. These people are available on LinkedIn. You can just ping them, you can chat with them. There was one person, I will give you his name. He went to Germany, KPMG. Okay, so he get within 6 months only. So it's up to you. As much as I have shown you one graph correlation, number of hours spent studying and scores. It is that same thing. If you will spend time, if you will learn, then you will get the things done. So it all depends on your concept understanding and your study. So if you are prepared, then you will get the jobs. And I have seen each and every level experience. There was a lady, Ambika. You can get her onto again LinkedIn. So Ambika, she was 15-year experience. So she joined a startup as a director of AI, and 1 year later she joined Oracle. So just 5-6 months back she joined Oracle. She pinged me that, sir, I have joined Oracle. So that's how people are doing. So don't worry, I have seen every experience level people, but you have to work on it, work towards it. So okay, so I think we will get back to our probability distributions. This is
Sure. Thank you so much, sir.
You see it. Okay, you do this one. So binomial probability distribution. So binom function is also available into stats library. So let's plot from the stats library. Binom.rvs is the function. N is equal to 10, P is equal to 5.5, size is equal to 10,000. So I want to plot the distribution. So this is a distribution of binomial. So that also can be plotted. So type this particular syntax, particular code. Type it. If anybody is having any question with respect to anything, you can still ask. I'll tell you if I have doubts. These things, you guys, you have to understand your, as per your experience level, for each and every person, recommendation will be coming from me is different. Okay, so the same thing which is applicable on Daniel might not be applicable on Soumya. Probably I'll tell Soumya to target this position, and probably I'll tell Daniel, no, don't target this. So for everybody, recommendations will be different. So let me know once you will be able to plot this. So I will scroll it down and I'll show you. This is just a graph, how to plot a graph for binomial distribution. Done, guys, this one. Can I scroll it down? Okay. So write this one. So this is for Poisson calculation. So for normal distribution also we have function. If Gaussian distribution is there, then random.normal. And in NumPy library you have something called as Poisson function. So you have to give the rate and you have to give the value. Then Poisson values can also be directly calculated. But we are plotting the graph. So plot this also. Guys, done? Anyone can answer
Yes.
yes or no? Yes. And similarly, one more graph. Okay, this you see it later. I want you to type this one. So this we want to understand. Type this one and how to put this mark on a graph. So this one I want to explain. Remaining ones are just graphs and functions which you can see it on your own. I'll share the notebook today. This one I want you to understand.
Utkarsh, Surendra here.
Yes, Surendra.
Is that PMF probability mass function?
Where?
That array.append RVPMF.
Yes. So basically, what we are doing, this particular .pmf is I am trying to find out the probability from the probability mass function for the value 28. Okay. So this is the value 28, and this probability I want to identify. What is the probability for 28? So I can put the marker on this. So this is overall is the probability mass function. In this mass function, what is the probability mass function for the value 28? That is what is calculated. Only single value I want. So I can put the mark on that value 28. If you will not write 28, then this is the whole graph for mass function.
So probability of passing the 28 cars will be around like 65% or less, right?
Something like that. Yes.
Okay.
So this is just one program I wanted to show. Is in the graph, if you want to point out some particular probability for a particular number, then this is how you can do. So what we are doing in this function, I am passing x and y. X is 28. Probability is the calculated probability for 28. And so you got x coordinate and y coordinate for putting the marker. Then marker is equal to O. So I want to put a marker as circle. Similarly, you can put triangle and square also. There are different notings for that. You can check it on Google. Then size of the marker, how big you want. So this number you increase, it will be keep on getting bigger, and then color is equal to red. And that is how you can put the marker onto a graph anywhere if you want to put. So done, guys, it is done. So again, same request for probability. Don't worry much about probability. Just focus on other remaining statistical concepts and your Python programming. Probability, whatever we have discussed, is more than enough, and none of the interviewer will ask you the probability questions. Okay. Only 1 or 1.5% chance is there that they will ask you probability. Otherwise, nobody will ask you probability questions. So don't worry about probability. Just basic understanding we need that we have calculated. That's all. Okay. So that's all for today's